Hey guys, Tepco Cycle Repair. So I got this Predator generator. This is a inverter 2500 peak watt generator that's been dropped off. This thing is older than all the Predators I've seen. I've actually never seen one of these. So, it'll be interesting figuring it out. The cover was already off. It's just a Phillips head, goes on the other side. Let me turn it around. All right, so here's what the face looks like if you have one. And then we have, it's not seized. It just was sitting a long time, so we're going to pull the carb off, clean it, dump the fuel, and make sure it's running good. So the cover right here is just a hook in the bottom, Phillips head at the top. Let me set you guys up on the tripod here so we can get this torn apart. It's just going to be a basic carb clean. This is no different if you mess on any of these than any other small engine. It just has the carb here. Here's our bolts that hold it to the manifold. We're going to hope all the gaskets stay together because I don't have any for this one. I don't even know what engine is in here because it's an older one. But let's try to get it apart and save the gaskets. We have, looks like an 8mm down here for the cover. And then we have our two 10s, and that should get this whole cover off. We got our vent tubes to come off of here. So let me get you set up. All right, 8mm. Hose clamp here. I'm just going to swing this out of the way. This is just a vent line from the gas tank, so the air box is out of the way. There's our fuel filter here. And the gas is off right now, so we don't have any gas coming out of there, but we're going to drain all that gas. So let's get this fuel line off of here. Remember, just twist it a couple times when the line's holding up, and that'll break it free, and then you'll be able to pull it off. Looks like same as a Honda gasket, so it's just a Honda imitation carburetor. As far as throttle control goes on these, it's electronic. Alright, so we have this top piece right here. So we got two Phillips head up top here. I'm just going to take the whole unit off the top. Phillips head, we're going to pull this off. And it has, right in here, it's going to sit on the throttle where it's going to actuate the throttle. So let me pull it off and I'll show you. Somebody's already been in here and the fuel pump is just kind of floating around in there. And so here's our throttle linkage right up on top. So we're going to be careful just pulling that off. All right, and you heard that come back right there, this little spring-loaded piece. All right. So it sits on there like that. It's just got a servo motor here, and it has a groove in here where it fits on the top of the throttle. So when it's set up here, it just sits in there like that, and then it actuates the throttle. I don't want to move it with the motor, but it'll move it open and close depending on your load. All right, so we're going to take that off, lay that right here, and we're going to bring this part right here over to the carburetor studio. Let's go. Alright, so this one is not that dirty on the outside, so let's just dig into it. There's a gasket that's flat up against here, the bottom of the bowl. We're going to want to try to save that. I can smell the fuel in here, it's old. Alright, see that in there, yellow? This should be able to this looks like it's not too bad. I'm going to be able to clean this out with some regular, just carb clean. It smells like regular, old, ethanol-free fuel in here. It doesn't smell like crappy ethanol fuel, so I think we're going to be all right. We'll just pull the pin out right here. We're going to pull the float, make sure the needle's not stuck. That looks good inside there. The seat looks good. Yeah, let's go spray this out with some carb clean. I think we're going to be good. I'm just going to spray inside of here. The jets in there. These jets sometimes are really hard to get out, so we're going to spray through there. I'm going to try to get it out with a screwdriver, but if not, it's all right. Just spray through there and make sure it's clear. Make sure that you're spraying fluid goes through there and it comes up in the carburetor body in here. So let me do that quick and spray this clean, spray the bowl. Try to keep any cleaner off of this gasket. So I'm going to, like these little sections right here, I'm going to try to get a Q-tip and just wipe those up with the cleaner and not just spray it all over the carburetor. All right, so this jet came out and you can see light through there, see it? So it's not too bad. I've already sprayed some cleaner through it. I'm just going to make sure that there's nothing left in there and it's nice and sprayed clean. You can always tell the difference between ethanol and non-ethanol fuel when you're cleaning these out. The non-ethanol fuel, just, you spray some cleaner on it, wipe it, and it comes off. I mean, it's just so much easier. The ethanol, you'll have a lot of corrosion, you'll have grain in there from the water, you'll have all kinds of mess. This is just a regular, good old school dirty carburetor, and it's so, I mean, just from blowing it out and wiping it a little bit, we're just about clean and ready to put it back together again. All right, so after you do get the jet out here, there's the emulsion tube. This helps mist all the fuel and helps it atomize like the way it's supposed to, so it'll help it run smooth. This is clogged up, you'll get a rough, kind of a rich acting engine, or it'll gurgle a lot, so we're going to make sure all these holes are nice and clean. If you don't know what a rich engine sounds like on your lawnmower, if you have a riding mower with a choke on it, put the choke on, fire it up, and leave the choke on. And you'll hear it quickly just gurgling and blowing smoke, and as soon as you take it off, it smooths out. That's a rich engine. On a two-stroke dirt bike, you'll hear it gurgling too, blowing smoke and gurgling. It's the same thing. All right, we got one more. All right, blow some carb cleaner in there. All right, so we got everything cleaned up in here. Drop that back in. Yeah, look how big that hole is now. That's cleaned out. See that? So I'm going to drop that in there. I have a modified screwdriver I like using for this. This is kind of in between a couple screwdriver sizes, so it's easier to do this. Don't over tighten anything. This right here, the float pivot pin, make sure you clean that. Because if any gasoline is stuck on that thing, it'll make the float stick. Drop it back into place. Make sure that this is level. See how that's level with that? That's where you want that to be. If it's like this, you have issues in your needle seat. You got to check it. These should be nice and flat like that. It looks good. Now remember the way that this went in. So this sits in here like that. So we're going to want the drain facing outward. I blew this off with the carb cleaner also. All right, and on these, our pilot jet, which is our starter jet or the low speed jet, is underneath the idle screw. So let's take our idle screw and turn it in, see how far in it is. Four turns out from seated, so we're going to take this all the way out. Now there's an O-ring behind the this jet underneath here, so we're going to be extra careful. So this just pulls up out of here. We're going to blow all this there's a little bit of dirt right there. Let me get that off. So you can get underneath it here, a little bit on each side, and just kind of pry it. It's going to come right up. Be careful of that O-ring. Okay. You have to make sure that this is clear. There's a hole in here, all the way at the bottom. There's your jet. Got to make sure that jet is clean. Right through, and it is. So I'm going to use some a little bit of WD-40, like a lubricant on here to clean it, because I don't want to swell that O-ring up before I put it back in. All right, with that just sprayed out there, we're going to slide it back in. Now with our idle screw here, we're just going to turn it all the way back in and then back it out 4 turns. Alright, let's go throw it back in. Alright, first we got to put our electric motor back in. Just get the servo where it fits into that little slot. This looks like it's been broken and repaired, so put our screws back in. So here's our fuel line, put the fuel line back on it. The gasket's still good, so we're not going to worry about that. Just going to leave that on. Put the clamp back in place for the fuel line. Put our gasket from before back on. Make sure there's no debris or anything. This is our choke right here. Choke on, choke off. And we're going to take our air box. We have the breather from the, this is the vent line from the top of the tank. Stick that in. Remember, when you go to first start this, because it has a, because this one, if you have the same one, has a fuel pump on it, it's not going to start like first pull. You're going to have to pull it a couple times to get the bowl filled up with fuel. So let's get this back together here. Alright, so with everything back on, we're going to turn the gas on. We're going to give it a couple pulls. We're going to put the choke on and see if it starts. Well guys, there you go. So there's to it. Pretty simple, easy carb clean on this one. This is a good little generator. So hopefully this helps you guys out. If you have one, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for further notification, guys. Until next time, this is TEPCO Cycle Repair.